Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Tuesday the 1st of March. So let's just look through the risk events arising today from the news. I say news, but economic news. So we've already seen the Australian cash rate and statement come out, so that's a done deal. It's not upset the Aussie. Side of that, we've got Canadian GDP. This is a monthly figure, so it's okay. It will move a little bit, but I mean, it's looking like it's going to be down. Previous 0.6, forecast 0.0. If it comes in negatively, I could see that moving the Canadian dollar. But likewise, a positive number 0.2 and above, I would expect quite a bit of movement there, or reasonable amount. Aside of that, ISM manufacturing, institutional supply management manufacturing, coming out there at 3 o'clock, might get things running. We've got an NPC speaker at 6:30, so there's a bit happening, but not a great deal. Due to speak at the University of East Anglia in Norwich. Okay, I don't expect too much to come from that. On that basis. Right, let's have a look at the markets, and looking at the euro dollar first as ever. Yesterday did a pretty decent recovery, pulled back lots of what it had gapped down at. It certainly filled the gap and pushed up, or filled most of the gap, I should say. It's actually a bit short of the gap. It closed towards the high on Friday, so a little bit of a gap miss, but we're still looking, to me, like I was looking at this on the 60-minute actually, and I was thinking, do you know, this looks like it's curling round and it could just run up towards its R1, Friday's highs, the new monthly pivot, weekly pivot, a stack of drawing features up there which could just pull it or draw it up there. So and the gap just to be filled. So maybe post 8 o'clock, see what happens here. It's looking okay at the moment. You've got to just be a bit careful. Patience yesterday kept me out of a short cable, which is one of the best trades sometimes when you don't trade. Or best decisions, trading decisions. Okay, so as I say, erring on the bullish side. There is also a trend line running down here. I know a lot of you will have spotted that and be shouting at me because I haven't drawn it on, but the 100 MA is pretty much there as well. So there we go. So we just run into that level, but the 100 MA might just hold back things. But although it's already tested it, it's air kissed it there. Next time it will probably push. Right, that's the euro. The pound. Pound yesterday certainly made up and closed its gap. He says it did close its gap. There we go, it's closed the gaps. Okay, so we've got above us the weekly and new monthly pivot just fractionally above us here. Again, at the moment it's trying its best. It's put a little higher low in, and the lower time frames here, the hourly time frames, it's put it in there. It just looks a bit more iffy. I was drawing this on yesterday. It's just, oops. So if I can adjust that back to where it was, that'd be good. Somewhere. Sometimes it's just easier to draw a new one. But a break below this, it's got the daily pivot sitting below. It might, if these markets start rolling over, it might just ping pong between the two, or ricochet between the two groups of pivots. The weekly, the monthly, sitting above, just above, with that 100 MAs. Quite a lot of confluence, and the previous highs. So quite a lot there to Friday's highs there. So, and if it starts breaking down, well, daily pivot's not very far away. These pivots are very squeezed today as the market was pinched, so might just hold off. The dollar yen, always untradeable these days. You just don't know where it's going to go in terms of, I mean, it's sitting there choppy. I was looking at it in the weekly picture, and you just see how tight it is on a weekly picture even, and it just sort of goes through here. I'll just bring it down one more time, but it does look like there's a little bit of strength coming in. There's sort of the potential for further downside. We're certainly seeing the US dollar as the weakest today. So the US dollar is the weakest. Saying that, it's not. The yen is absolutely the weakest relatively, actually, believe it or not. So it looks the other way around, but okay, that's the dollar yen. Aussie dollar. Just had a quick look at my chart. Aussie dollar, well, traded this yesterday after mid-morning, and eventually got it to its target. This also has filled its gap, pushed up beyond. Nice movement since. As I said, the central bank decision has not made any changed. It's not been to any detriment of the Aussie dollar. It's been strong before. We saw it sell off there, and it's continued. It's been strong over the last month or so, relatively. And a classic breakout this morning, but that's already happened. A bit more difficult if we do start selling. Well, this has got a couple of targets. Daily pivot. The weekly's already been touched, but the monthly pivot sitting below. So there is a bit of a draw at some stage, but and there's probably a bit of divergence. I'm just looking. Yeah, for those divergence traders out there, not obviously triggering until breaking, but for now, just wait and see. But there we go, Aussie dollar, more bullish than bearish on that. I don't really want to be playing the downside. Canadian dollar, recapturing some of its movement. It looked like yesterday, and it might do it today, breaking it. I had it in a range, and I've lost that range, but it was trading in the monthly range. Of course, I've lost the pivots now, but you see this where the weekly pivot was sitting there. Sorry, monthly pivot was sitting there. The previous monthly pivot was sitting there, and you can see that was support. Well, we're back down to that sort of level again. We haven't got I looked at the orders books that I can see, and there is not a lot of sell orders sitting below, so it is net buy orders below, but at some stage it might eventually force its way further down there. But we have got the central bank reporting this week. Looks like it's okay for the downside, but maybe selling into retraces. Aussie, I've looked at the Aussie. What's going on here? Looked at the CAD. That's it. Okay, going backwards here. Gold. Let's look at the commodities. So gold, really consolidated. I had to bring it down a time frame there, just so you can see what it is. It's a sort of triangle wedge pattern, wedge, a wangle. Whatever we would like to call it. Certainly sitting there at the moment, really, I've never seen it quite so like it's been sitting for quite some time. It's just tighter and tighter, running through here. I was looking originally last week into this sort of break of these prior highs here. Didn't come back to, well, came close to it yesterday again, but not happening. But maybe we'll see a break of that and a run back towards those prior highs there. Okay, I'm erring on the more bullish side of it. It has though got the main pivot below, and the monthly pivot, which might just draw it down. But in the main, I'm still hanging on the bullish side. Right, that's gold. Oil. Well, no surprises really here in what's happening. I noticed Canada's going to stop, will ban Russian crude imports, so there's another reduction and another demand on the overall price out there. So okay, some of that would be offset to the crude that gets sold directly to China, but all the same. Looking at the price at the moment, it's pushed up. Yesterday afternoon, I was waiting patiently, never really went. It's gone at the moment. I don't want to be on the short side of this market. It still has a gap below it. It also has a lot of draws in terms of the new pivots there. We've got the daily and the weekly and the monthly all sitting pretty close together at around about $94. That in itself could provide a reasonable platform, although I would like to see the gap filled. I don't like gaps left on these commodities. Anyway, we'll see. I don't want to be on the short, as I say, on the short side personally, but a trend line along the lows there could see it, as I say, coming right the way back to the weekly and monthly. Right, that's the commodities. Let's have a look at Yeah, Christina, I'm not sure why. I'll have to look in that a little bit more in terms of why gas isn't pushing. So, well, if you're looking at gas as in terms of the US exchanges, you'll find, I'll come on to it in a moment, but actually let's do it next. Indices, it's in the indices bit there, so natural gas, but this gas isn't, but this is US natural gas. They've got plenty of their own. Local gas prices are soaring. It went up, I think, 30% 2 days ago, I heard, or yesterday. So local gas prices are soaring. But if you're looking at natural gas futures, these are often based on the US prices, in which case they've got plenty, and hence why it's dropping down there. So not quite the same. Oil is being driven by, I mean, gas is less transportable. Hence why whoever's got it's got it. It's got to be piped or put on special ships, and there aren't enough special ships. Right. Okay, let's have a look at indices then first, and then we'll come on to cryptos. So on the hourly chart here, let's just change this to a daily. Don't want to be running down this hourly charts quite yet, but yeah, it's had a little continuation bounce. CSI 300. Still, I sit here looking, waiting for further breakdowns. I mean, 45.35. If I was trading this around that, or 45.30. If I was trading this, I'd be looking for a breakdown that sort of level on the short side. It's I'm not trading it, just to clarify. Nikkei continued, even gapped up there, but it's a gappy old market. But that just makes me think, well, maybe we'll fill that gap. And the general picture for the Nikkei is bearish. Now, we haven't got the FTSE yet. Let's have a look at the Nifty. Well, I haven't got the FTSE. Nifty picked up overnight a little bit there. It's not the most of bullish price action at the moment. I was looking at this sort of level across 16.828, 16.830, sort of around that area as possible resistance. Just look at if it gets up to there tomorrow, the reaction may come in, but looking soft. So markets that are open, let's have a look. The DAX is moving up okay at the moment. It's still, well, it's consolidating around here. Overall picture though, bearish. It's been bearish for ages, and just remain bearish on it. I'd rather be selling into any decent retrace. If it gets back towards its 21 moving average, it'd be quite nice. And CAC was similar situation, lower highs on this bigger picture. Has it finished the overall move? Well, possibly, but it doesn't look like it to me, and I think there's more of a correction to come into play. So both of those markets looking pretty low. FTSE just opened, but it ended up yesterday doing pretty well overall after selling off as expected. It's starting to pick up here. This is one of the stronger markets. I expect if it breaks that 75 or 7500 area that we could see a bit more of a push up there. But there we go. Let's just have a look at the yields on the 10-year government bonds. The T-bills, they're still okay. They came right off yesterday. That suggests money running into safety, and it's only partially being released here. As we see these T-bill yields go up higher, beg your pardon. That's money coming out of bills and making the yields higher. Right, okay, nothing else there. Let's quick look at crypto, and we're done. So, crypto market then. Well, big old push up yesterday with Bitcoin. Really big old push up yesterday. It's doing pretty well this morning. It's at 46 area, still remains a line in the sand. There's lots of comments of Russians using Bitcoin as an alternative, etc., which might do something more or cause something more. Ethereum, again, reasonable push up, not as strong as Bitcoin. And Ripple, decent retracement yesterday after the weekend, but it's only really back to Friday's levels. The Bitcoin itself has done the best here. Other markets then, Cardano, not really setting the world alight. I'm still bearish on these. BNB, Binance. That's taken a nice break, and that looks a bit more bullish as well. So there are at least two there. The Bitcoin itself and Binance, they're both looking a bit more, a bit stronger. Reasonable move. Ethereum obviously gets a lot of volume going through it, but yeah, Binance certainly. Binance and Bitcoin, maybe Ethereum, all look a little bit more like they've got something in the tank. Right, that's it for me. I wish you a great day, and I will catch you in the morning, in the morrow, as they say some places. Take care. Have a good one.